Now, can you see this? All right, I'm going to leave my chat up so that I can show you. We can just talk throughout it. So I want to be able to. I want to get this to be interactive. So who here has already got an idea for a business, or has a business, or is a complete newbie? Can you let me know in the chat whether you're a newbie or this is a new kind of experience for you, or you're already kind of down the business road a little bit, just sort of the last year? Yes. I'm just getting my notes up on my phone now because I can't see it on the computer. Hey, Michelle. Newbie. Okay, beautiful. We're running ABM for Clinical Work. Yep, that was me at the start when I first started doing this. You're at the stage of getting a grant. Amazing. Well, so my name's Elle. I'm from Melbourne, Victoria. Before we start, I just want to make sure that I acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet tonight. And I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and I extend my respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders that are with us in the call tonight as well. So I'll introduce myself before I get into all the nitty gritty. As you know, my name's Elle. I am a 13-time Australian representative, and I swam in the Sydney 2000 Paralympics and then played wheelchair rugby for I think about 5 years. And during the transition from swimming to wheelchair rugby, I took some time to do some study and start my own business. And I've been in business for 12 years now. I have my own online space where I do business coaching, and I work in the spiritual industry as well. I do speaking, and I also work we also co-run a co-working and event space in East Brunswick in Melbourne as well. So I've got a bricks and mortar and I've got an online space. And I love being a business owner. I think it's so cool, and it gives you autonomy and wonderful ability to be your own, obviously be your own boss, and to learn on the job and experience really exciting real-time change. I've worked in lots of different spaces like corporate banking, in the not-for-profit sector, in the sport industry, in local government, and then now I work for myself. So the 10 steps that I want to take you through tonight are ways that I teach a lot of my clients how to begin their own businesses, and ways, kind of tips and tricks on how to help you get into the right mindset to have a business. So there'll be some technical stuff that I'll kind of go through, and there'll be some questions that I'll also go through. But there'll be different time, there'll be time at the end for questions, but we can also feel free to put your question in the chat as well while we do this. And if I can get to it, I most definitely will. Otherwise, we can talk about it at the end. So my first question is, you want to be a business owner. Why do you want to be a business owner? What makes you feel inspired to be a business owner? You need to, above everything that you do with your business, you need to know why you're doing it. If you know why you're doing it, then it's like this beacon, it's your true north. It will continually bring you back and assist you in building your business if you know why you're doing it. So the reason that I begin with a thought process or an idea of why would you even go into business is because when you feel uninspired or you're doing things that are not within your zone of genius, the thing that you want to have, the thing that you want to kind of bring and create into the world, that will if you're not feeling, really happy about your business or where you're at, if you know why you're doing it, it will continue to inspire you and help you to go through it. So what's Sarah saying? I don't have other options, but also I'm providing an opportunity for those. Yeah, exactly. So if that's your why, if you know that you're going to make the world a better place, then that could be a why for you. My why when I first started was that I no longer wanted to work in the corporate industry. I didn't want to work 9 to 5. I didn't want to work a 60-hour week. I want to be able to pick my own hours. And as a person with a disability who part of my disability is chronic pain and all the surgery and stuff like that, it seems like a really smart move for me to also look after my mental health and look after my body. So the questions that I want to ask for you to ask yourselves along the lines of, and I will send this presentation to PDA so they can send it on to you guys, so you have the questions and the word, and you can delve a little bit more deeply into it if you'd like to. So the questions in my notes are: why do you want to start a business? What are you passionate about? This will give you some ideas, some insights into maybe the reason as to why you want to start. Ooh, here we go. Sorry, it's really touchy. What do you think being a business owner will give you? What are you going to get out of being a business owner? And is that enough to keep you going when things are harder or you feel a bit kind of wobbly in your business owner life? And why do you want to bring this to the world? Why do you feel like you're the person to bring it to the world? From my point of view, when I first started my business, I was super naive, and in all honesty and vulnerability, the reason I started my business is because I wanted to be able to give back to my family because they had given me so much. And I had this really deep guilt around them spending a lot of time looking after me as a kid. That's a valid reason for starting a business, but also when things change and you become more independent or your life changes, for me that has changed because now they don't look after me as much. I don't need them as much. So my why has shifted, and your why will shift. But you just need to, as you grow your business and as you change or as you grow as a person who has, who builds a business and gets a little bit more kind of, independent in themselves and their ideas of how they want to express themselves in the world, then you just be aware that the reason you're doing it may change and that you might need to keep on tapping into that why just to continue for things to keep on going. So why do you want to be a business owner? What do you want to get out of it? Who do you want to be in the world? Those types of questions. What is your true north? What is the beacon or the feeling that you want to feel every day? When you know what that is, it's really, really easy to be a business owner because you always just draw yourself back to that. Okay. So there's a few different business structures in Australia. And the best advice I can give for you is to look on your personal government, your state government website for business structures and business information that you need to know within your state. It's all pretty much the same, but it's really, really important that you just make sure that you're doing it within the rules of your state and what you need to abide by, because it can be different throughout the states. The business structures in Australia are sole trader, partnership, trust, not-for-profit, and company. There are some other different structures out there, but they are the most commonly used structures for people creating businesses. A sole trader is someone who is like me, who has an ABN number and doesn't have any people working for me. I have used contractors, but I don't have any employees. As a sole trader, I am liable for everything that happens within my business. So if I get sued or something like that, then I am liable to pay the money that I have to pay. So you're not really legally covered if you're a sole trader. There's not layers on top of you to protect you, in other words. That's why as a sole trader, you would have something like a public liability insurance or personal indemnity insurance that would protect you, like business insurance to protect you when you're working and doing things in the world. A partnership is essentially two sole traders coming together as a partnership, and they have half of the business. It's a 50-50 split. It can be, you can have different splits within the partnership, but generally it's a 50-50. You can have a trust, and a trust is a beautiful way if you're wanting to go into business with a friend or a family member where you just want to be covered legally, and also make it a little bit easier for when you're wanting to split costs or money coming to you. For example, a trust will give you a dividend at a particular time, so you'll get money from that trust like you would shares, and it comes to you, and that's, you know, as part of being the director of that trust. So that's another way that you can create a business through a trust instead of doing a partnership, and it has much more protection than if you were just two sole traders working in a partnership together. You can then work for a not-for-profit or create a not-for-profit, and a not-for-profit is something that is a really important thing to have within the community, and you might want to work in a space that is a charity or do some good. You might even want to have a social enterprise, which is a business for good that is under a not-for-profit banner. If you have a not-for-profit, there is a lot of reporting that you need to do for the government, and you can also decide whether you want to apply for DGR status, which is people can donate to you and you can give them a receipt back. So, you know, when you see the donate, you get $2 back for the donation that you give, then you can apply for those types of things. If you're thinking about doing a not-for-profit, I'm probably not your person to give you the advice. You would have to go to a not-for-profit lawyer or an accountant or a business lawyer, and they can set it up for you. But because there is so much reporting that needs to be done for a not-for-profit to ensure that the money that is being donated to a not-for-profit organisation is being given to the people that need it. And then there's a company. And a company is where you can have your employees, and your employees guaranteed to support through and they'll be looked after by things like the WorkSafe banner and those types of things. But there's also, in regards to having a company, there's also a lot of reporting that you need to do for a company. So my advice is that if you're new to business, you're a newbie, you're applying for a grant, those types of things. If you've got an ABN and you've got it for claimable work at the moment, then your best bet is to just stick with a sole trader to begin with. The reason why, it's so much easier. There is less reporting. Obviously, you still need to do your tax, but it is a really simple way to be a business owner within Australia. And as long as you have organised your own personal and professional insurance, then you're pretty much good to go. And it's a really good way for you to dip your toe in and test out the waters as a business owner. Okay, has anyone got any questions on that? No. Okay. So you have worked out, we've got a quick Q&A. This webinar situation is so new to me. How do you know, Natasha, how I click on that to get it to?
Has it just come up on your screen or?
Okay, so trust, would you mind explaining the trust a little bit more? So I'll use my co-working space and event space as an example of the trust. So I have a co-working and event space with a friend of mine, and we didn't want to have a partnership because we knew that if we got into any kind of financial difficulties or anything like that, that the tax obligations and the if the partnership was to fall apart, then we would be liable, because essentially it's two sole traders just coming together as one. We would be liable for much more cost. If you have a trust, it is an entity, a separate entity to you. So we are directors of the trust, and then the trust, it owns the business. So there is a separate layer to any kind of reporting obligation for as the business owners. So we are protected by the trust. So if something was to happen with the business in a negative way, then the trust would pay out, and the trust would save us, and we would not be as people liable for those types of things. Does that make sense? So it just adds a separate, like a spongy layer to protect you. So are you having a temporary visa? Do you have can you work in Australia with your visa? I'm not really too sure. My advice would be to go to the state government, like the business, victoria.gov. Yes, you can work. So I would go to business.gov.au and have a little Google, because I don't want to give you any advice. I don't feel like I would be the best person to know what the right thing to do would be. But I know that a friend of mine is from New Zealand, and she's lived here for 8 years, and she has a business here. So my assumption is, but this is not, like, I don't know whether this is correct, is that she has been able to work potentially under a New Zealand business number. Maybe she has a business number around New Zealand, or she has one under Australia, but I'm not sure. Okay. Everyone is texting me. Alrighty, so you know what your why is, and you've worked out what the structure of your business is. So for example, let's just go with sole trader for now. Now, the question is, what are you going to fix? Now, when we go into business, we feel like we go in hoping that we can fix something, or we create something, or we have a solution for something, for someone. So I've looked here, and someone has written, Michelle I have an online search company that reviews businesses for the disability sector. This is an amazing example. So this is a cool business, Michelle. You are essentially assisting the disability sector in helping them find whether businesses are okay for them. So that is a fix. You're fixing. So Google search for great people. So when I run my co-working space, we have converted a big open plan warehouse for people in the local area to come and work, so they no longer have to work from home and feel lonely. In my online space, I work with business people that want to start their own businesses, or I talk about living with a disability if I'm doing a speaking gig, or I do one-on-one kind of business coaching, that kind of stuff, or I run big coaching programs that go for 4 to 6 months. So I'm creating a space for people to learn how to build a business. So when you're building a business, you've got your why. You're like, why am I building a business? I want to change something, or I want to help my family live a better life, or I want to live a better life for myself, or whatever your why is. Then you're going to work out what business structure that you want, and then you're going to work out what you want to fix. And by working out what it is that you want to bring to the world and fix, then it'll really assist you in helping you to narrow down even more closely what your products are, or your service is. So the notes that I have written here, I'm going to read them out to you. When you begin the business owner adventure, it could be because you see an opening in the market, or feel that your unique set of skills could fix something. So think about what it is that you bring to the table. How do you look at the world differently? We know as people with disabilities that we already look at the world differently to other people. So we have an insight into innovation and you know, ways to educate people in different things. And it doesn't just have to be within disability. If there is something that you want to bring into the world and you just happen to have a disability, that makes me really excited. Sometimes I feel, you know, and I know from my personal experience that a lot of the time I was put into a place of working in the disability industry, but it wasn't something that made me feel really excited because I lived it every day. I was exhausted from living it every day. So don't feel like you need to be in that. If there's something that you want to bring into the world that you believe you can fix, you just happen to have a disability, then that's really exciting. Go and do that, because the world needs more people out there with disabilities just doing what feels inspiring to them. So the more that you spend time journaling or brainstorming or mind mapping how you can fix something, the clearer you get, the more you'll be able to then communicate it out into the world. Essentially, being a business owner is being really, really clear on what you can bring into the world. Clarity, 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 and continuing to ask yourself really good questions that will empower you and enable you to be able to articulate and communicate in a way that grabs people's attention. So yeah, what are you going to fix? What are you going to change? What problem do you know how to end for people? So who is your person? I'm going to tell you about my person. So my person is my avatar. Ooh. My person is my avatar, the person that I talk to when I am building all of my programs or I am speaking at a speaking gig. And my person's name is Sarah, and she is a person who identifies as a female. She's 32 years old. She's Australian. She works in a job that pays the bills, but it's not somewhere that makes her feel really inspired. She wants more in her life. And this is how you begin to get really clear on who your customers are. When you can work out who your person is, your avatar, your target market, then it will give you great clarity on who it is that you're talking to when you put any message out into the world, when you're creating your product or your service, or when you're marketing it on social media or to other people, when you're writing pitch documents for grants or to partner with bigger organizations that will be able to assist you in making ideas happen. So when you get clear on your customers, the things that you need to start to think about are things like demographics. You know, where do they live? What is their background? How much do you desire that they earn? What is their education? Do they have a disability or not? What gender are they, or do they not identify as having a gender? All those different types of things will start to build this person, this amazing kind of avatar person for you. Then you'll begin to think about things like the personality traits. So Sarah, you know, she doesn't really like kind of being on Facebook too much, but she loves Instagram. She doesn't really read magazines, but she loves fantasy books. She loves to be able to get her toes in the sand and go for a swim on the weekend and get out of the inner city where she lives and kind of go and explore. She loves spending time with her family and her friends and engaging with people, but she knows that there's something more in life for her. I based Sarah on me at 25. So when I first began my business, Sarah is me when I first began, when I desired something. So that gives you a little bit of an idea on how to build this person. When you can create structure, it creates clarity. When you know who you're talking to in every aspect of your business, whether it's in your products or your marketing, or when you're pitching to other people, when you've got your elevator pitch and you're having a conversation, talk to this person, create it around this person. This might feel really scary, because when we begin a business and our why is really big and we think that we want to help everyone, So we think that by knuckling down and kind of focusing just on one person is a bad idea, but I promise you it's not. I have at the moment a business coaching course that I'm running, and there are 7 women in that course, and all of them have aspects of Sarah in them, but they're all really different. So when you're talking to this person, pieces of information that are meant for the person, that are meant for someone who is interested in what you're doing, they will grab on that little bit, onto that little bit of information that resonates with them. So don't feel like you're cutting people out of your target market by nailing down to one person. This will make it so much easier for you. And then if it's easier for you, it's easier to communicate and articulate what it is that you're wanting to put out into the world. So this will help you get on message. Does that make sense? Have you got any questions? It was one of the things that when I wasn't sure about who I was talking to, and I was all over the shop, I was trying to talk to every single new business owner or every single woman who worked in the spiritual industry. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just really nailed it down to this one person, and it just has helped my business grow so much. Okay, let's go to the next slide. I love talking about systems. Okay, so when I first started my business, I had no systems in place because I just thought that I knew what I was going to do every day. Yes, so I'm just going to go back to Michelle's question here before I go to systems or your business bestie. I've said I'm going to look after parents, carers, and support workers. So it might be that you have maybe 1 or 2, but the parents, if you're talking to support workers and carers, they will have similar, well, all of those groups have similar communication that needs to go to them. So you could pick one person and test it out. Being a business owner means that you're not going to do this once. I have changed. Sarah has evolved and evolved and evolved. So you might test out, your Sarah once, and then add things to her as you go along and you learn a little bit more. Or you might then go, oh my God, I'm scrapping this Sarah. She has no idea. This is not right. And then start again. So one of the women who's in my coaching program at the moment, she had one avatar that she was working with for years. And then as her business and as she has evolved, then her avatar, whose name is June, has evolved as well. So systems, they will change your life. Don't discount systems. The most wonderful advice that I have received over the years from myself and also from other people as a business owner is you cannot remember everything. No matter how good your memory is, and no matter how good you think you can remember things, or how good you are as a listener, you will lose track of all the things that you need to do. Let systems be your best friend. And when you have systems in place, it's so much easier to upscale. So if you have particular emails that are already written, CRMs, yes, if you have things that are already put in place for you that you don't even have to think, and you can just shoot them off to people, it will change your whole outlook on your business. If you begin with systems, it will help you build your business so much more quickly. These are my top 3 business things to implement, I believe, that, and we might have some other kind of tips in the chat box as well. I use a daily project management tool. I use Trello because it has really helped me. And what I love about Trello is, so it's a online tool that assists you with your to-do list and managing different big projects. So I use it for my social media, and I use it for programs and just for general business stuff. I love Trello because on the screen it looks like Post-its on a wall, and you can move things from different topics. And I just have found that really helpful, because when I'm creating a program or something to do with my business, and if something no longer fits within that column or that topic, I can move it around. I'm not stuck to it. Asana is another one. When I tried to use it, it didn't really work for me, but I know that it connects your emails to its project management tool. So if your work is email heavy, it might be something that helps you. The more that you can set yourself up and let free tools, because they're free, a lot of them, help you build your business, the better. So don't feel like you need to remember how to do everything. I don't know much about HubSpot. I was just looking at the other day because I've just changed from Acuity system, scheduling system to Calendly. But I've heard some really good things about HubSpot, and I've heard that it's quite versatile and it has a lot of different like quirks to, like good quirks to it. So and it gets really good reviews online. The next most important system I believe you need to implement is really good accounting software and a really good accountant. My favorite accounting software is Xero. It's about $50 a month, or you can use, you can have a concession version of it, which is I think $22 a month. Xero is really simple and easy. You can connect it to your bank account. You can connect it to a Stripe account if you're taking online purchases. So Stripe is a similar program to PayPal, and it's really simple and easy. You can set up online invoices that people can pay with credit card, or they can do direct deposits into your account, and lots of different things. I am for my co-working space, we are on Xero, and we have a bookkeeper, and she does all of our, because we are a company or a trust, we have to do BAS every quarter, which is pay our GST every quarter. And so she organises and has set that all up for us. In my own personal business as a sole trader, I am not registered for GST. I will register shortly this year for GST, but I'm not yet. And so I am using QuickBooks, but I don't like it. It's not as intuitive, and it's much harder to use than Xero. So what my accountant is doing for me at the moment is she's cleaning up my QuickBooks, and I'm moving to Xero. I feel like the $50 a month is absolutely worth the money to make it just easier for you generally to run your business and use the systems around you to be profitable and to not have to stress about the thing that keeps your business alive, which is being paid. Yeah, so I don't think that QuickBooks is as good as Xero, but that's my personal opinion. Other people might like it, but my brain definitely does not love it. The other really important system that I have implemented in for my workday, for my business, is Workdays. It's easy when you have a co-working space to go to. So if that's something that you can afford or you're interested in, if you're in Melbourne and in the north side, our co-working space is completely accessible. If you're not, there are lots of different co-working spaces available around. But when you set the days that you're going to work, it will make your business build so much more quickly because you will have dedicated time to it. So if you feel like you only want to work 1 or 2 days a week, then that's completely fine. If you feel really excited and you want to work 5 days a week, that's amazing as well. But just remember to set yourself really healthy boundaries, because as you build your business, it gets really exciting, and you could do what I did and work all the time and burn yourself out really quickly. So just be mindful of if you can't work, if you're sick, and we all have extra health complications that are going on around us. If you're in hospital, you're unwell, and means that you can't build your business. So if you set yourself up right from the beginning, you'll absolutely fly. Okay, next slide. Or any questions before I go to the next slide? Yeah, have a look at some co-working spaces. You know, there might be ones that you can work as a casual, we have casual day passes, you know, so there's lots of different options around for co-working spaces. And you know what the beautiful thing is? That most of my friends I met at the co-working space that I worked at first, And then at the end of that co-working space's life, I took it over and now I own it. So that's how I have, a couple of businesses. But the people that I met in that first co-working space that I worked are my dearest friends. For example, I'm going tomorrow to help one of my friends buy her wedding dress. So, it's not just about building your business, you're creating your business family. And the more that you have people around you to support you as you grow your business, the better it will be. It will inspire you and you'll have connections and you'll be able to, use this person for that or help get this person to build this for you and you can help them too. And it's just a beautiful personal development kind of experience. Okay. So why are you the person to bring, yeah, exactly, they'll be your family now. Why are you the person to bring your business into the world? Why are you the special, unique person that will create change in this world and bring this business in? Well, for me bringing my business into the world is because I have a unique way of looking at the world. My life and my disability has shaped me into this person that can look at things really innovatively or map things out really beautifully. I can see how a program can be built. I can see how a business can be built from the ground up. I know how to build a beautiful foundation for something to really thrive. So that's a skill that I have. So these questions that I'm going to read out to you are really important in terms of getting an idea of why you are the person to bring this business into the world. And the reason that we're doing an exercise like this is so that you can use this language in your marketing. A lot of businesses talk about things like working out what your niche is and narrowing down into your niche. This is all well and good, but I'd like to give you an opposing view and I want you to ponder whether you are your niche, because I know that I am my niche. People come to me because they get to work with Elle, and I have a unique vision of the world, an idea of the world. The way that you look at the world is your niche, and people will want to work with that and they want to connect with authenticity and vulnerability in that space. So how can you show who that is in your business as well? So the questions are, who are you? What do you care about? What have you created? So your product or your service. What do you bring to the world through your product or your service or your business? And why are you the best person to do this? When you gather the answers to these questions, and you may need to answer them, write them out, answer them, write them out, answer them over and over again, you will get a really good idea on your bio and why you are the person to bring what you're wanting to bring out into the world, which will then help with things like applying for grants. When you're writing, the benefits of this program is because of A, B, or C, or when you're pitching a document to an organization that is wanting to give some money to an organization that will help someone do something. Don't forget to, the really cool thing about business now is that because we're on social media and we're engaging so much online with each other, people want to know the person behind the business. So they want to know your point of view. And it's the really interesting thing that has happened in my online business for Elle Steele over the last couple of years is people want to know weird stuff. Like they want to know what I do during the day because it excites them or it inspires them to do something. Or they're just interested. And that's how you build this beautiful kind of online brand for yourself. So people have an idea of who I am online. The Elle Steele online is this version, and then the Elle Steele online, the Elle Steele offline in her home is a similar but a different person. So by getting the answers to these questions, you'll get an idea of who it is that you are online and why you are the best person to run your service or your business, and why the more that people can connect with you, the more powerful your business will be. The more you'll be able to grow it because people want to work with people like them. Do you have any questions about that? Okay. So this follows on from the past, the previous slide, your business's voice. When you work out what your why is, and you work out what your service and your product is, when you work out what your target market is, or your avatar, or your Sarah, who they are, and when you work out why you're building a business, this creates your business voice. It creates the ecosystem of your brand's language. So I don't know whether you've had a chance to look on my website, but my copywriter, so a really beautiful friend of mine, Tilly, she wrote my website. I didn't write any of it, but it sounds exactly how I talk when I'm talking to my friends and my clients. It uses slang and different loving words. It is the tone of voice that she has written on my website is absolutely the voice of I am Elle Steele, my business online. What she did was she asked me similar questions like this when she was trying to gather the information on what my brand was, but she also did a program with me for 6 months. So she listened to me talk and then she could recreate it on my website. The reason that you do questions like this and you answer questions like what I've mentioned before, which I'll send to PDA to send to you, is because then you get a better idea of what you sound like. And then once you are in this persona, this online persona, this brand persona, the ecosystem of your brand's language, once that is something that just flows off the tongue, it's really, really easy for you to recreate more and more marketing and more content. Businesses now, as you know, unfortunately and fortunately, I guess, if you want to grow your business now, it has to be able to be online and be seen online because that's the way of the world. And it's really content heavy. So the more that you can rehash language or that you can create content that is engaging and where people feel like they're connecting with you as the business owner or the business's voice, if the business isn't just about you, maybe you have a partner, like you're in a, similar to me with my co-working space, our business is called The Space. The Space has its own voice. It's different to the voice of I am Elle Steele, and it's different to my business partner's other consultancy business, Hive Collective. That voice is very different as well. Think of your business as a separate entity to who you are. This is also really important when people give you business advice when they've never run a business. It also helps to create or to leave emotion out of it. As you build a business, people are going to give you advice when they have never built a business themselves. And they'll tell you that you should add this product or do this or do that. But my advice would be, and this is not really to do with your brand's voice, but my advice is to say thank you so much and just to keep on trucking on and doing exactly what you're doing, because intuitively, as a business owner, you'll know what is best for you. Do you have any questions about your business voice? No. Is your business inclusive? I don't think I probably need to go too deeply into this because we are in a minority group. But as you move into the space of business owner, I'm really sorry, it's actually just the noises in my backyard. I don't think I'll be able to stop it, but I'll try. Is that a little bit better? Okay, good. The cicadas are having a party. So remember that when you're wanting to build a business, don't just think about it being inclusive for people with disabilities. Think about people, non-binary people, trans people, humans just as a whole. It's not just about disability rights, it's about human rights. And the more that you focus on that, the more love-filled your business will be, and the more people will want to engage with your business. Okay, this is really big. Self-care for the business owner. You don't have to be a superhero. You don't need to say yes to everything. And you most certainly, just because you have just started your business, do not need to do it for free. You have skills. You are bringing something into the world that is exciting and needed. And it is important for you to have remuneration for what you bring into the world. So there is an issue in the world where people that are working in the disability industry, or people with disabilities who are educating people without disabilities about stuff, they find it hard to charge or not get paid for the things that they're doing. That's my belief, is that you don't work with people who will not pay you for your service. Even if it's a not-for-profit who don't have a lot of money, they have a budget for it. So always ask what their budget is and then work accordingly within that. If you're doing some things like it's a new business and you're doing things like one-on-one coaching and you're learning to be a coach, there's no reason why you can't get that person to take you out for lunch. It's an energy exchange. If you're doing something for someone, remember that you deserve to have something come back to you. The more that you push yourself to say yes and yes, 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 and not get anything back, the faster you head down the road to burnout. My other piece of advice from a person with a disability to a person with a disability is your disability is your first business. It's annoying to sometimes have to acknowledge that, but it kind of is what it is. So if you're feeling like you're burning out because you don't have as much energy, or because it's harder for you to get around, or for whatever, insert things that we just have to deal with from a day-to-day basis, you're not a failure. You just have something else extra that other people don't. So don't feel like you can't do your work from your bed. I built a program in lockdown, and 75 people joined that program, and I made over $11,000 from my bed. So don't feel like you need to push yourself into a place that feels uncomfortable. Listen to what your body is saying, because you'll be so much more successful. And you know what? The really cool thing is you have really amazing stories then, because people want to know how you did that from the comfort of your own home. So my advice is, you don't need to be a superhero. Charge your worth. It's absolutely okay to charge things if you're just starting out. It's actually, pardon me, it's really important for you to charge for your work, because you know what you're doing. Do you have any other questions? I'm just looking at the time. We've got about 7 minutes to go. No questions? Were my studies related to my business? Yes, I have a business degree. So I went, when I first left, did my VCE, I went and did a certificate in, advanced diploma in public relations and marketing and events. And then I went on to uni and did a bachelor degree in business in events and the music industry, because I wanted to be a band manager, because I loved going to gigs, but it wasn't really, didn't really work for me in terms of training for Athens 2004, which I then missed out on going to that Paralympics anyway. But I've got a business degree, and then I went on and did some more study into the spiritual industry, and then also in the coaching industry as well. It's such a pleasure. So these are my contact details. Don't feel like you can't ask me questions. Like us, this little posse of business owners with disabilities, we have to stick together. So, you know, if you're on, you know, I predominantly play on Instagram, so feel free to send me a DM and just introduce yourself if your handle is not your name. But, you know, the more that we can create an amazing, you know, revolution of disability business owners, the better, I believe. So you know my contact details now. Please reach out if you have more questions. Yes, we need this family. It can be our little online co-working cohort. Yes, amazing, Zion. Yeah, well, you know, starting a business has changed my life. I had a big day today, but for most of the rest of the week, I've just worked from home and, you know, watched a lot of Charmed on Stan, and I've been paid for it. So if you know, this is 12 years in, so I've got the systems in place now, but if you set those systems up, if you charge what you're worth, then, you know, you can absolutely be really successful. So it's been such a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.